charged the Lucid Gravity at a Tesla Supercharger. The Lucid Gravity has a maximum DC fast charge rate of up to 400 kilowatts, making it one of America's quickest charging EVs. It also has a Tesla-style North American charging standard NACS plug for native supercharger access. I tried that and went from 40% to 80% in about 15 minutes with a very flat charging curve. I'll be candid, I didn't love the new 2026 Lucid Gravity at first. Primarily, I was put off by my Gravity Grand Touring Tester's $122,950 price tag. The electric vehicle market in America has had a lot of expensive spaceships over the years, and I am not convinced that it really needs another. But as far as expensive spaceships go, the Lucid Gravity has proved to be an extremely well-executed one. With up to 450 miles of range, some plush luxury features, prodigious power and a lot of space, it's actually one of the best six-figure EVs I've ever driven. Yes, even with a few smart key headaches, which Lucid promises will be fixed soon. One of the Gravity's best party tricks is its charging prowess. On a powerful enough DC fast charger, it's capable of charging at 400 kilowatts, more than just about every other EV on the US market, though it'll have competition soon from the likes of BMW and Porsche. On a miles per minute basis, the Gravity charges up quicker than any EV outside of China. At a 350 kilowatt station, we've seen the Gravity go from 0% to 25% in just 5 minutes, before hitting 80% in 27 minutes. Not bad for something with a decently large 123 kilowatt-hour battery. But the Gravity also packs a Tesla-style North American charging standard NACS plug from the factory for native supercharger access. How does it perform on one of those, considering that the most common V3 Tesla superchargers do up to 250 kilowatts, and not all EVs necessarily do well on them? In short, the Gravity crushed it. Lucid's new SUV exceeded my expectations on a Tesla charger, and blows past its older brother, the Lucid Air. Here's how my test went. Lucid Gravity, the Tesla Supercharger test. I need to start by saying this was not the most scientific of tests. It was not a meticulously recorded, start from zero test, the way our colleague and friend Tom Malachny operates on his State of Charge YouTube channel. You might instead call this a real-world test. I was out and about in the Gravity, running some errands, and I decided to see how it'd do on a nearby Tesla charger. I was at 40% charge with 175 miles of range, and so I manually preconditioned the battery in the charging settings, something you can configure to happen automatically when you set a fast charger as your destination. I fired up my handy Tesla app, backed the Gravity into the space, and plugged in. It's still such a trip to see a NACS plug on non-Tesla EVs, but I have come to prefer it. I started charging at 6:52 p.m., and immediately the Gravity shot to 105 kilowatts very quickly. It went up even faster from there to 180 kilowatts, then 200 kilowatts. 1 minute in, the SUV was pulling 220 kilowatts, not too far off the supercharger's maximum speed, and not bad for a start at a 40% state of charge. Had the Gravity's battery been emptier, I am confident it would have gone even higher. Lucid says the Gravity should peak at 225 kilowatts on 500-volt chargers, including Tesla's V3 units. Since the car itself runs at 926 volts, it needs higher voltage chargers to reach its full charging potential. 2026 Lucid Gravity Tesla charging. The car quoted me 15 minutes to reach the set 80% limit I had for DC fast charging. With everything in order, I went to run my errands while monitoring the speeds from the Tesla app. The Gravity held steady for a while, before dropping to 165 kilowatts and 65% by 7:02 p.m., then 145 kilowatts and 75% by 7:08 p.m. It ticked hard at 140 kilowatts all the way to 78%, then finished a few minutes later. In the end, the car went from 40% to 80% on the Tesla charger in about 17 minutes. During that time, I added 175 miles of range and 47 kilowatt-hours of battery capacity, and was all set to drive with 351 miles of range in total. And the charging session was over before I finished my shopping trip. I'd say not bad here, not bad at all. The Gravity's charging performance on a Tesla plug easily passes my "does this get the job done on a road trip? And does it do what it was supposed to do?" tests. I could see plenty of folks being at 40% charge, finding a Tesla plug nearby, and wanting to get back on the road quickly. Getting from there to 80% in under 20 minutes is a solid result. Lucid's engineers have said that the Gravity's 926-volt architecture, easily the most powerful on sale in the USA, enables faster charging on a Tesla plug than even Tesla's cars. While my test wasn't apples to apples against a Model Y or anything, I do believe this is accurate. On the last Tesla Model Y that I tested, I went from 10% to 80% in 27 minutes, adding approximately 228 miles of EPA range. Tesla itself says the Model Y can add between 144 and 182 miles of range after 15 minutes of supercharging. I essentially matched that in my test, and in suboptimal conditions, charging from 40%. For more context, the last Hyundai Ioniq 9 I tested, which has a 110 kilowatt-hours battery, went from 20% to 80% on a Tesla plug in about 30 minutes. This slower result makes sense, seeing as the 800-volt Ioniq 9 is capped at 126 kilowatts on most superchargers. Again, fair to say that the Lucid does better than both. Any car company making 800-volt class EVs needs to do some work to make their cars play nice with Tesla's chargers, and the Gravity does very well. Lucid's Air sedan, by comparison, can only hit 50 kilowatts at most superchargers. So what does this mean for the average person who isn't meticulously recording charging times and charging curves for articles and YouTube videos? It means that a Gravity on a Tesla plug, of which there are more than 20,000 in North America alone, can charge up and get back on the road very quickly. And if they manage to find something as fast as a 400 kilowatt station, they should be able to add 200 miles of range in under 12 minutes. I'm impressed with the Gravity so far. Source: reposted and summarized from Patrick George at insideevs.